Caitlin Clark does not need much space here.
This kid, Angel Reese, has something about her.
Her personality, contagious.
She makes, in her funny.
Is Caitlin Clark truly an unstoppable force in basketball? At a mere 23 years of age, she's not simply participating in women's basketball, she's actively reshaping its very essence. From obliterating long-standing scoring records in the collegiate realm to drawing fervent crowds that pack WNBA arenas night after night, Clark's influence transcends mere statistics. However, the narrative isn't solely about her victories and accolades. It's equally compelling to examine the array of exceptional players who have dared to challenge her, the established icons she's faced in head-to-head contests, and in numerous instances, arguably those she's demonstrably outplayed on her relentless ascent to the sport's pinnacle. This isn't just a highlight reel of spectacular plays, it's a deeper exploration into the experiences of the competitors who have encountered Caitlin Clark's burgeoning legend firsthand and felt the full intensity of her rapidly accelerating stardom. Before the arrival of Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu reigned as the undisputed luminary of women's college basketball. Selected as the coveted #1 overall pick in the 2020 WNBA draft, Ionescu was nothing short of a powerhouse during her tenure at Oregon, amassing a collegiate record that can only be described as breathtaking. She achieved an unprecedented feat, becoming the first and only NCAA player in history to accumulate over 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and an astounding 1,000 assists throughout her illustrious college career. Then, the basketball world witnessed the emergence of Caitlin Clark. Last year, in a pivotal game against Michigan, Clark etched her name into the annals of basketball lore, seizing the title of NCAA women's basketball's all-time leading scorer with a phenomenal 49-point eruption, achieving a cumulative total of 3,569 points in an astonishingly brief 126 games. Thus, when these two basketball paragons finally collided on the court, the stage was set for a historic encounter, and history indeed unfolded. In a moment that resonated as a symbolic passing of the torch, rookie sensation Caitlin Clark delivered a commanding triple-double performance, propelling the Indiana Fever to a hard-fought 83-78 triumph over Ionescu's New York Liberty. She ignited the game with an explosive start, amassing 11 points in the opening quarter alone, sinking 3 long-range shots with precision. By the third quarter's end, she had already reached double figures in assists and then, with unwavering determination, secured her 10th rebound in the final quarter, sealing the remarkable milestone. While Ionescu led the Liberty's scoring efforts with a respectable 22 points, it proved insufficient to quell the surging momentum of the Clark-led Fever. Clark didn't merely secure a victory, she issued a resounding declaration of her arrival, a powerful statement against an established basketball icon right from the outset of her professional journey, signaling that a transformative era was undeniably upon us. However, Ionescu was far from the only celebrated player who would grapple with the force of Clark's meteoric rise. Diana Taurasi. The very utterance of her name evokes reverence within the basketball community. For many aficionados, she embodies the essence of women's basketball itself. And for Caitlin Clark, Taurasi was not just a legend enshrined in basketball history, she was a cherished idol, a figure of profound inspiration. Throughout her formative years, Clark admired Taurasi, captivated by her fierce competitive spirit and unparalleled skill set, harboring a fervent aspiration to one day grace the same hardwood as her idol. Then, on the highly anticipated date of June 30th, 2024, the matchup that had been eagerly awaited by fans worldwide finally materialized: Caitlin Clark versus Diana Taurasi. As the game commenced, Taurasi emerged with her characteristic intensity, displaying her trademark self-assurance, sinking shots with her signature flair, distributing assists with precision, and initially seeming to seize command of the contest. Yet, as the game progressed, a subtle but significant shift began to occur. The unyielding pressure exerted by Clark, the sheer magnetism of the burgeoning Caitlin Clark effect, gradually became an undeniable factor impossible to dismiss. Now, it's crucial to acknowledge that Taurasi delivered a commendable performance in totality. Nevertheless, for a player frequently lauded as the GOAT of women's basketball, she appeared unusually hesitant, particularly when tasked with the defensive assignment of guarding Clark. Ultimately, despite Taurasi's iconic status and enduring legacy, Caitlin Clark unequivocally reinforced why she represents the undeniable future of the league. Clark demonstrated that even the most esteemed figures in the sport's history were not immune to the gravitational pull of her ascending stardom. And the pantheon of luminaries challenged by Clark's prowess extends further still. Next in line, a player often regarded as among the sport's all-time greats. Within a narrative often dominated by the triumphs of Caitlin Clark, there exist isolated instances of resistance, fleeting glimpses of adversaries momentarily deciphering the Clark enigma. One such juncture materialized in a contest against Mackenzie Holmes and the Indiana Hoosiers. Holmes entered the court with a palpable sense of purpose. She orchestrated a compelling performance, amassing 23 points and securing 9 rebounds as Indiana orchestrated a stunning upset, defeating Iowa with a decisive 86-69 scoreline. Clark, still basking in the afterglow of shattering the NCAA women's career scoring record, continued to generate impressive numbers: 24 points, 9 assists, and 9 rebounds. However, on this particular occasion, it wasn't quite enough to secure victory. She encountered shooting struggles from the field, converting just 8 of 26 attempts, including a frigid 3 of 16 from beyond the three-point arc. Adding to the unexpected nature of the game, she managed a mere 4 points throughout the entire second half. Reeling from a perplexing defeat at the hands of Illinois earlier in the week, Holmes and her Hoosier teammates harbored a point to prove, and they delivered their statement emphatically. They appeared to have unlocked the strategic blueprint, discerning precisely what tactical adjustments were necessary to contain Clark's offensive arsenal, and they executed their game plan with remarkable precision. Yet, even amidst this rare setback, something truly noteworthy unfolded. Despite the team's loss, Clark remained the undisputed focal point of the unfolding drama. Hoosier supporters, while reveling in their team's triumph, couldn't help but acknowledge the captivating spectacle that Clark inherently brought to the court. Intriguingly, many fans even took to social media to express their frustrations regarding Clark's performance against their victorious team, inadvertently underscoring her undeniable captivating presence, even in the context of defeat. Even in the face of a challenging loss, Clark's very presence dominated the post-game discourse, further cementing her undeniable star power. However, even when opposing teams managed to secure victories in the team context, on an individual level, numerous players continued to grapple with the sheer challenge of containing Clark's prolific scoring capabilities. Consider Diamond Miller, for instance. Even when the ultimate outcome of the game didn't always favor Iowa, Caitlin Clark consistently found ways to transform the court into her personal stage, delivering performances that captivated audiences. And in her encounters with Maryland and Diamond Miller, she left no room for ambiguity, unequivocally establishing her dominion over the Big Ten Conference. Back in February of 2023, Clark and Miller, both preeminent figures in college basketball, engaged in a compelling head-to-head clash. Clark unleashed an offensive onslaught, amassing a staggering 42 points and steering Iowa to a decisive victory over Maryland, while Miller herself contributed a noteworthy 27 points to her team's effort. However, it was the rematch during the Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament semifinals that truly solidified Clark's status as a dominant force. Under the intense glare of the arena lights and before a fervent, roaring crowd, Clark ignited for yet another awe-inspiring 42-point performance, propelling Iowa to a resounding 96-82 triumph over Miller and the Terrapins. This wasn't merely another routine game, it was her 6th career game in which she had surpassed the 40-point threshold, a testament to her scoring consistency and explosiveness. And this feat wasn't supposed to be easily attained. Standing in opposition was Diamond Miller, Maryland's marquee player and unequivocally one of the most exceptional talents in the entire nation. Miller entered the contest prepared for a fierce battle, contributing a substantial 27 points to her team's tally. However, despite Miller's tenacious efforts and undeniable skill, this particular evening, bathed in the stadium's luminous glow, belonged unequivocally to Caitlin Clark. In these high-stakes head-to-head battles, Clark consistently elevated her game to rarefied heights, leaving even elite defenders like Miller struggling to maintain pace and effectively curtail her offensive dynamism. And Clark's scoring barrages weren't confined to conference play. She seamlessly translated that same level of intensity and scoring prowess to national matchups, as Georgia Amore and Virginia Tech would soon discover. Caitlin Clark didn't simply resume her previous season's performance level, she emphatically declared in no uncertain terms that she remained the most lethal scoring threat in the realm of college basketball. In a highly anticipated showdown against Virginia Tech, a team boasting considerable national recognition, Clark unleashed a breathtaking 44-point spectacle, single-handedly carrying Iowa to a hard-fought 80-76 victory against a ranked adversary. In her duel with Virginia Tech and their standout player Georgia Amoore, Clark effectively seized control of the game's narrative. Possession after possession, shot after shot, she masterfully bent the game's trajectory to her will. Whether it manifested as a contested three-point attempt launched from well beyond the arc, a fearless drive into the heart of the defense, or a perfectly threaded pass to a teammate positioned for a score, Clark consistently discovered avenues to influence the game's outcome. Amoore valiantly exerted herself to keep Virginia Tech competitive throughout the contest, ultimately contributing an impressive 31 points to her team's total. However, in the final analysis, Clark ultimately dictated the narrative's conclusion. With a decisive final free throw, she secured her 44th point of the night and sealed the crucial ranked victory for Iowa, simultaneously, in a sense, overshadowing Amoore's otherwise remarkable individual performance. Clark's recurring ability to eclipse even laudable performances from her adversaries became an increasingly prominent and defining motif of her playing style. But sometimes, the challenges Clark faced extended beyond simply outscoring opponents. She was also compelled to withstand intense defensive pressure, a reality vividly illustrated in her encounters with Cody McMahon and Ohio State. In a primetime spectacle broadcast across the nation, Ohio State orchestrated a statement victory, decisively defeating Caitlin Clark in Iowa by a score of 92-87 in a captivating overtime showdown. Spearheading Ohio State's triumphant charge was Cody McMahon. The sophomore player proved to be an unstoppable force, delivering a career-defining 33-point performance with remarkable efficiency, converting 12 of 23 field goal attempts while also securing 12 rebounds to achieve a commanding double-double. When the game's outcome hung precariously in the balance, McMahon rose to the occasion. During the critical final minutes of regulation and particularly in the tense overtime period, McMahon delivered one clutch basket after another, accumulating 8 of her total 33 points during the extended play. Conversely, on the opposing side, Caitlin Clark executed what has become her signature move, illuminating the scoreboard with her prolific scoring. She poured in a season-high 45 points, notably including all 9 of Iowa's points scored during overtime. However, therein lies the pivotal point. Iowa desperately required supplementary offensive contributions from other players on the roster. No other Hawkeye player managed to surpass 14 points in scoring. It was glaringly apparent. Clark was shouldering an immense offensive burden, tasked with essentially carrying the team's scoring load single-handedly. Even in contests where Clark amassed prodigious scoring totals, the immense pressure weighing upon her to propel her team was readily evident, sometimes culminating in team defeats despite her individual brilliance shining through. And this pervasive pressure was a constant companion for Clark, not only in the collegiate arena but also as she transitioned into the professional ranks of the WNBA, where she encountered formidable defensive challenges such as those posed by DeWanna Bonner and the Connecticut Sun. Echoing a prior encounter against the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin Clark initially encountered difficulties establishing her offensive rhythm. However, once she found her stride, she proceeded to render DeWanna Bonner, a player renowned for her defensive prowess, seemingly less effective than her established reputation would suggest. Both Clark and Bonner experienced moments of brilliance early in the game, but a bout of foul trouble temporarily relegated Clark to the bench for a crucial stretch. Bonner and Connecticut effectively capitalized on Clark's absence, constructing a lead in the game's momentum. Nevertheless, the Fever entered the second quarter with a slight advantage, leading 33-26, and upon Clark's re-entry into the game, it initially appeared as though Connecticut had successfully devised a strategy to contain her offensive output, mirroring their approach from their previous matchup. But with a player of Clark's caliber, it's frequently a matter of time before she finds a way to break free from defensive constraints. And break free she most certainly did. Clark ignited offensively, spearheading the Fever to an 84-80 victory, triumphing over one of the WNBA's most formidable and defensively sound teams. For Clark, this victory represented sweet retribution for their previous encounter and served as another emphatic affirmation of her dominance on her home court. Clark unequivocally showcased her remarkable capacity to adapt and overcome even the most meticulously crafted and stringent defensive schemes prevalent in the WNBA. As Clark continued her journey to solidify her position within the WNBA, she encountered an even more extensive array of scoring legends, including the likes of Kelsey Plum. In a recent milestone event that further cemented her legacy in basketball history, Caitlin Clark etched her name into the record books by surpassing the all-time Division I women's scoring record with a signature deep three-point shot against Michigan. The very record she shattered? It was previously held by none other than Kelsey Plum, a luminary of the sport in her own right. Fast forward to a Tuesday night showdown, and these two exceptional #1 overall draft picks finally clashed in a highly anticipated WNBA matchup. On this occasion, it was Plum who seized the spotlight. Under the brilliant illumination of T-Mobile Arena, Plum delivered a season-best 34-point performance with exceptional shooting efficiency, converting 11 of 20 field goal attempts, propelling her Las Vegas Aces to an 88-69 victory over Clark's Indiana Fever. However, Clark certainly had her moments of brilliance amidst the contest, concluding the game with a commendable stat line of 13 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds. Yet, it was undeniably a challenging shooting night for the rookie sensation, and with Plum actively guarding her at various junctures, the head-to-head duel between these two elite scorers carried an undeniable sense of personal intensity. Despite the palpable on-court competitiveness, the matchup culminated in a heartwarming and genuine display of sportsmanship between the two basketball stars. This particular night may have belonged to Plum, potentially signifying a symbolic passing of the torch from one record-breaking guard to another, but there remains a strong sense that Clark's narrative is far from its final chapter. While Plum secured the victory in this encounter, the matchup served as a compelling preview of future battles and Clark's ongoing trajectory towards the zenith of the sport. But sometimes the most fiercely contested battles weren't against established WNBA icons, but rather against collegiate rivals who possessed an intimate understanding of Clark's game, such as Yarden Garzon of Indiana. Caitlin Clark has cultivated a reputation for maintaining remarkable composure, projecting an image of unwavering calm and collectedness both on and off the basketball court. However, even the most mentally resilient athletes possess thresholds, and at Bloomington's Assembly Hall in February 2023, while still competing for Iowa, someone seemingly managed to penetrate her steely exterior, Indiana's Yarden Garzon. With a mere 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter, Iowa was facing adversity, trailing Indiana by a score of 26-22. Clark sought to ignite a spark, attempting to create a quick scoring opportunity to shift the game's momentum, but Garzon harbored alternative intentions. She strategically positioned herself directly in Clark's path, effectively shutting down her scoring attempt with assertive defense. Moments later, the two players found themselves face-to-face, engaging in a heated verbal exchange, jawing back and forth with palpable intensity. The typically composed Clark, known for her unflappable demeanor, did not back down from the confrontation, and for a fleeting instant it became unequivocally clear. Indiana had succeeded in getting under her skin, disrupting her usual equilibrium. Despite Clark's gritty and determined performance, amassing 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, Iowa ultimately proved unable to weather the Indiana storm. Indiana dominated the game's second half, pulling away decisively to secure a commanding 86-69 victory. Garzon's actions demonstrated that at times the key to effectively slowing down Clark's influence wasn't solely reliant on defensive tactics, but also involved the psychological aspect of unsettling her composure and disrupting her mental game. And finally, in any comprehensive discussion about players who have faced off against Caitlin Clark, it's impossible to omit mention of the rivalry that has undeniably captivated the basketball world, the ongoing saga with Angel Reese. It's an undeniable fact that the dynamic between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese transcends mere on-court competition. It's a rivalry steeped in history, often characterized by palpable tension and a competitive fire that has been smoldering with intensity for months. During a highly anticipated collegiate basketball showdown last year, Caitlin Clark entered the contest against Reese and LSU with a palpable sense of purpose, wasting no time in delivering a captivating performance right from the opening tip-off. Early in the game, she executed a sequence of back-to-back jaw-dropping passes that ignited the arena crowd into a frenzy of excitement. By the conclusion of the third quarter, the Fever had extended their lead to a commanding 14-point margin, largely attributable to Clark's continued offensive contributions, which included an additional 8 points and 2 more assists added to her already impressive stat line. Conversely, Angel Reese encountered a challenging period during that same quarter, managing to score only a single point on 2 shot attempts and concluding the quarter with a -4 rating, indicating a period of reduced on-court effectiveness. By the time the fourth quarter commenced, the game's outcome appeared virtually decided, a clear testament to Clark's profound impact on the game's trajectory. After observing Caitlin Clark engage in head-to-head competition with some of the league's most formidable talents, one overarching conclusion becomes unequivocally clear. She has arrived on the scene with the intention of dominating, of leaving an indelible mark on the sport. The Clark-Reese rivalry, however, is still in its nascent stages, promising numerous more intense and captivating matchups as their respective professional careers continue to unfold on parallel paths. Having witnessed Caitlin Clark confront an extraordinary array of basketball talent ranging from established legends of the game to emerging stars and intensely competitive rivals, one fundamental truth emerges with unwavering clarity. She is, without a doubt, a force to be reckoned with in the world of basketball. She has already shattered long-held records, captivated vast audiences with her electrifying style of play, and demonstrably altered the very fabric of women's basketball. But the lingering question remains: has she already ascended to the echelon of the WNBA's premier players, firmly establishing herself among the elite? Or does she still possess further frontiers to conquer, milestones to achieve, and legacies to solidify as her professional journey continues to unfold? We are genuinely eager to hear your perspectives on this compelling question. Please share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. In your estimation, is Caitlin Clark destined to be an unstoppable phenomenon in the sport? And as always, we encourage you to show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel to ensure you don't miss out on more in-depth basketball analysis and captivating content.